Oh, why don't you sit on this side of the world? That way I don't have to sit. I'm always looking like for your shorts.
Where are we holding inside? I'm sorry.
So,
Page 318. Page
318.
let's review the concepts and then we'll go through this inside. We learned that throughout the paragraphs, we learned that from Shimshon, that the way the world, Tzaddik explains, the way the world is created, it's created as an alma de piruda. Alma de piruda means everything is disparate. That's a nice thing. It would be horrible if we all looked the same, or if every tree was the same, or if we were trees, etc. So the alma de piruda means that everything is separate. So that's the beauty of the Bria, where it says embraces over and over again, Vayavdil, 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 12 times Vayavdil. But in order to create a malchus in this world, so then all of that pirud has to come together. Not come together and become one, that's a silly kind of an achdus, but to come together that it's all tied together and it all has a mutual, has a common goal, and purpose, and mandate, and raison d'etre. So the example I gave was the bicycle wheel, where you have the hub, which you have total achdus at the hub, but you can't do anything with that achdus. Go ride on a hub. Nothing to do. So you need spokes. The spokes give the hub meanings, taking the koach of the hub and giving it 20 inches, 24 inches, 26 inches, giving it breath. But even that can't do anything if it's just spokes. What are you going to do with the spokes? So you need a rim. And that's where the achdus takes place. The achdus doesn't take place here. The achdus takes place out here, because now you are rumgeringled the different spokes. This is probably the pshat in Pirkei Avos, where Hillel said that imenani mili v'shani la'atzmi ma'ani. This is a contradiction, meaning imenani mili. If I don't develop my own spoke, if you will, so who's going to do that for me? Me, Lee. Nobody can different spokes for different folks. Nobody can develop this particular spoke. You can do this spoke, that spoke here, but you can't do imena nili mili. On the other hand, like if you would just walk down the street and find a spoke, random, it has no mashmois. It's a stick. It's not even a spoke. It's not a wheel. It has nothing to do with it. So kishani la'atzmi. It's not just if I'm not part of this big system. It's not just that I'm not part of the system, but I don't have any mashmois at all. I have no purpose, no meaning. I'm not even a spoke. I'm a stick, piece of metal. I'm not out of the when you're out of the context of the wheel. There's nothing to it. So that's how we understood the Alma Tepiruda on a deeper level. So it's not just a melding of our different personalities and our different strengths, which is already enough. We I don't know if you remember when in Reb Dessler, the Mitzvah Belial Chelik Beis. So at the end, where he has on Tanakh, I read a little bit of it to you. So there by Shoftim, he brings to the Arizal something just so murdic. I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not. He says that, I mentioned it to you, that's what we were talking about, that the Kadosh Baruch Hu creates a Neshama, and the Neshama, whatever that is, the Neshama in Shabbai, where it's created, before it's Vayipach Ba'ap of Nishmas Chaim, before he gives it into the Guf. So the Neshama itself has a tachlis, it has a mandate, it has a reason why Hashem created this Neshama. There's a reason why your Neshama was created. And it wasn't to be doing what somebody else's Neshama was. It was a reason for your particular Neshama. It has a tachlis. Now, in order for the neshama to be able to do its tachlis, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so is the Rav Dessler b'Shem the Arizal, HaKadosh Baruch Hu builds a goof around it. And that goof is exactly the armor that this particular neshama needs to be able to do its tachlis. Extremely important. It's like if you're sending me, if the Israeli government is going to send me to be a spy in Damascus, I'm going to be our man in Damascus. So, like, don't put me there without the right radio equipment and the right bulletproof vest. Like, this is the goof I need. I'll do the job. Neshama Yared is a Toich HaGuf. I'll do the job, but I need what I need. So, this is the Rav Dessler that if you can work backwards on this one, because you can take a look then. Here's the guy who took the amnesia pill, and he's there in Damascus. And what am I supposed to be doing here again? Well, you can look at your radio, and you can look at your vest, and you can look at your different paraphernalia that you have. You can say, oh, okay, that's what my neshama is doing. So you can work backwards on this by taking a look at the kozlos that you have. You can understand the tachlis of the neshama. Okay, I sing well, If I sing well, so obviously it has something to do with my. Right? I'm a mathematician. I can run fast. I can think well. I'm a balitza. Whatever it is that my koach is, everybody has something. Sometimes you have to dig, but everybody has something. That becomes the backward definition of the neshama, working backwards. It goes both ways. So
Also, everyone has a unique parts of, which is also that's built around the neshama, it's showing the uniqueness even at the
Okay.
neshama level.
So kishem, shepartzufeim einam doimos, kach deoseim einam shavos. This is it's a whole different thing. So if I'm your spoke, you're my spoke. On a deeper level. By the way, the Malos HaTorah is the brother of the Vilna Gaon, who quotes extensively from Achi HaGoin. I believe, by the way, he was the first one to call the Goin the Goin. Was his brother? I think so. By a reading of history. But in the Malos HaTorah, the very last wonderful sefer, the very last page of the Malos HaTorah, he's Megala that we all know that before a person's born, so Malach comes and teaches you Kol HaTorah Kula, and then the Malach comes with Satrei, Starei, Alpiv. You forget the Torah, which is Gemara Nita Daflat. It's a funny kind of a little bit of a gadata there, like Vasep, you learn it, you forget it. So okay, we've all been to Brisson where we've heard Torahs about this. But he says that it doesn't mean that the Malach teaches you Kol HaTorah Kula. This is part of the armor. That before you're born, the neshama needs a certain kind of talent, a certain kind of personality, a certain kind of nefesh, a certain kind of ruach. It needs a certain kind of Torah. So what the Malach is teaching the Uber b'mei imai is your Torah. I don't mean your Kedushin, but the Torah that you need to understand and be able to have insight in order to fulfill the mandate of your neshama. So it's another radio. So why do you forget it? So he says, because the whole point of being in this world, part of the purpose is to discover that, and to find that, and to work. It can't be automatically. You are there with a mission. But that's part of Hagufa, he says, is part of the mission. So it's a very beautiful thing. On a deeper level, and this is what we're learning now, is the spheros themselves. Because when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's not just HaKadosh Baruch Hu created an Alma de Piruda in terms of different trees and different types of people, but the spheres themselves, of Chesed, the seven last spheres of Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and that's all over the place. What I mean is all over the place. It's Chesed is on the right and Gvura is on the left, and Netzach Tiferes is in the middle, and Netzach and Hod and Yesod. So there's the Amsoyim, and there's the Kav Yamin, or what's called in Kabbala the Sitra de Yamina. Sitra means side. Sitra de Yamina, the Sitra de Smola. That too has to be all tied together. And it's not very different than what we were describing. It's just on a different level. That too has to all be tied together, which comes out in Malchus. Malchus is Leisle Migarmei Klum. Malchus has no personality, because Malchus is that which ties together all of the spheres. It doesn't. Leisle Migarmei doesn't need its own personality. It ties it all together. So What that means is that in order to have Malchus, which is Mashiach, Malchus is Mashiach. In order to have Malchus, you have to have a complete Achdus at the end of the spokes. Both of the different disparate personalities of Klal Yisrael and of all the spheres which are part of the personalities of Klal Yisrael. And hence, we almost had Malchus, almost, by Matan Torah, because Vayichan Yisrael Keneged Ahar, where there was Ki Echad B'Leiv Echad, we were finally circled, giving meaning to all the different parts of the inside. But then we messed it up. And Moshe Rabbeinu would have been Mashiach in that scenario. Would have been Mashiach. That was his thought. Be Mashiach. We just did it. Now we got the Torah. Let's go to Eretz Yisrael. And you got it. You're right. Bob's your uncle.
We got a flat tire.
Right. Built an Egel. Egel is the opposite of the Leisley Meger Meklum. Egel Azov is the counter opposite of Leisley Meger Meklum. It's all about the Chet of the Eitzadas. We will be Kelekim Yedei Toivera. It has to be from us. We want it to be from us. Yaakov Avinu, this is what's important here, also saw Tiferes Yaakov, because Yaakov Legalis is Saketz. He also saw in his sons, at the end, finally, a full cooperation of all of the different parts, all the different spokes of Klal Yisrael. And he said he could be Megalakates, but it didn't work out. And he said, somebody here is not cooperating. The whole struggle of Yaakov with his sons, Yosef, Binyamin, the whole struggle of selling Yosef was a struggle of disparate parts coming together as one. This is a very important yesod in understanding the last parshas of Bereshis. It was all this struggle. This was the Agmas Nefesh of Yaakov, trying constantly to bring them together. Everybody has a function, and this was, in fact, Yosef's dreams of Mashiach. He was dreaming about Mashiach, and you see, I was speaking about this for a minute, but you see, coming together, Yosef said, there's another brother. Where's the other brother? Like, we're all here together. Okay, this all work. Where's Binyamin? What does he need Binyamin so badly for? In the story, what does he need Binyamin so badly for? Binyamin, what's important to understand is Binyamin, why was Yaakov so protective of Binyamin? So the answer is Binyamin, by Shaul it says that he was an Ish Yemini. Came from Binyamin. But it doesn't say they came from Binyamin. Is that a funny way of saying it? Ish Yemini? Ish Binyamini. Why Ish Yemini? Mordechai, the tzaddik, was Ish Yehudi, but he was Ish Yemini. Why Yemini? So the Zohar says because Binyamin was Besitra to Yemida. Binyamin belonged to the Chesed, to the Netzach, and Binyamin was necessary to get to the Malchus. You couldn't do it without the. So Shimon v'Levi Achim, right? Shimon and Levi were warriors. Shimon and Levi were tough. They were Gevura. Shimon stayed in Mitzrayim. Yehuda is Vayigash Elav Yehuda. Shimon is here. Binyamin is here. The brothers are trying to negotiate this Achdus here, and Yaakov Avinu is saying, well, I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm not trying to explain it, but am I supposed to give up Binyamin now, then we'll never have a geula? Or am I supposed to send Binyamin with you, and that will be the geula? This is a very confusing thing. What does Yaakov say? Yosef einenu, Shimon einenu, Achshav. Now you want to take Binyamin also. Listen to these words, Rabbi say. Shimon Einenu, Sitra D'Smola. Shimon was Gevurah. Yosef Einenu, he's in the middle. That's Midasai Yisai. Yisai Yosef. Yosef is Midasai Yisai. And now you want to take by Sitri D'Yamino, so you're going to take the whole thing. Or Yosef on the other side of the Middle East saying, no. Yosef is here, Shimon is here, where's Binyamin? I need an actus here. So, unbelievable silent machlokus that's going on between Yosef and Yaakov and the Sitra D'Yamin and the Sitra D'Smola. So, let's look a little bit inside because that's what we're coming. That's what we came here for.
And the other ones were not part of any part of the Sitra? I mean, the other brothers? Why Dafka only Binyamin, only Shimon?
They were part of the Sitra. They were, but they were all. You have to learn what each one was, and to see how each one. But certainly Yehuda was in the Sitra D'Emtsai also, but he was part of the Malchus also. Yehuda.
So Shimon the leading.
Malchus Beis Yehuda.
So Shimon the leader of the small.
So Shimon and Levi were the Smolanaim. It's kind of interesting how politically the opposite.
So what did Shimon have over Levi? So why this struggle?
Well, they because of this, it says in the Chumash that when Yaakov, what did Yaakov say? What did Yaakov say at the end? Parashat Vayigash. Shimon v'Levi achim klei chamas mecherosehem. The way they get things is through violence. That's what he says. B'soidom al tovay nafshi b'kolam al techa kavodi kiva apam hargu ishu b'rtzoynam ikushar. Shimon and Levi represent Gevurah. Orur apam kiyaz. Its anger should be cursed. Of course, it's talking about the Maaseh Dina. Achartem ki kashasa achalkem b'Yaakov. What's so, this is a beautiful passage. What are they for? What are they for? Shimon and Levi. Achalkem b'Yaakov v'afitzem b'Yisrael. They are going to keep us together as a Jewish people in Golus. It's Shimon and Levi are not bringing the geula per se.
They're the teachers.
But they are Shimon and Levi are the teachers of Klal Yisrael, right? The Gemara says, "Roiv malamdei dardakim v'Shimon." The teachers of Klal Yisrael were Shimon and Levi. But not only that, not just they were the teachers, they were the kanoim. So Hirsch writes here. He says, "You see, the word the lashon is that I remember seeing it once." This is an amazing thing with the Jews that you can be a Jew in Europe, can be a Jewish kid in Europe, can be poverty-stricken and hungry and walking around without clothes, and he still talks about the lousy shkotzim in the street, those lowly people. It's like this is the Shimon and Levi of Golus. You see it even in the concentration camps. You know, where the Nazis, Yimach Shemav Zichra, were dressed, you know, to the hilt and perfect brass, and everything was great, and they had the ammunition, and they walked straight, and the downtrodden, stepped on, shot, killed, starving Jew. Look at him as the Shagans. The Shagans is what is a Shagan? You're a piece of garbage. This is where do we get this from? They couldn't get this out of us. They couldn't get this out of us. They killed us, you know, millions, but they couldn't get this out of us because this is the bracha of Yaakov. Achalkim b'Yaakov afitzem b'Yisrael. Even the wandering Jew peddling through Europe still looked down on the street boys of the various countries with proud feelings of his own value, and he, downtrodden, driven all over the world, still keeps the feelings of the importance of his own person and the sense of belonging to his people. For that, Achalkim b'Yaakov was the greatest benefit, that the tribes of Shimon and Levi were scattered amongst the other tribes as the teachers came forth from Shimon, and it had the natural result that when the state collapsed and the nation scattered in all directions, this dispersion, Shimon and Levi would be found everywhere, with their fiery and proud dispositions would keep alive the energy and the courage, the fire and the noble Jewish pride of the Jewish spirit, outliving the loss of the state.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's the Shimon and Levi. You need those guys. You need those guys. You need that Sitra, and they are called the Sitra de Smola. So Shimon Einenu, Yosef, Zmidas HaYisod. He's the one who's going to first start Mashiach ben Yosef. He's the one who could first start bringing all of this together. Yosef Yisod means where you take all the spheres of Yisod and start to hit ground. Tzaddik. Yosef and Tzaddik. Tzaddik Yisod Olam.
Yosef is Lashon Asifa.
Asifa. Hu Hamashbir. The Yosef Haya b'Mitzrayim. That's the Yosef Einenu, Shimon Einenu, Achshav, Gam Binyamin Tikach. That's the Sitra Jimina. He's the side of Chesed. There's something interesting just while we're here. Binyamin. What did Yaakov say to Binyamin? Anybody remember? What was his bracha to Binyamin? Binyamin, he loved Binyamin. Binyamin was his Ben Zekunim. Binyamin, right? What did Binyamin do? Did Binyamin do anything wrong in any place? He wasn't involved in the Mechiras Yosef.
Binyamin is like a wolf.
Yeah. Is that funny? He says, Binyamin, one sentence in Binyamin. Shimon Levi goes out, four psukim. Binyamin ze'ev yitraf. No, Binyamin will tear the wolf to pieces. Baboker yochal ad, in the morning he's going to eat his prey, v'la erev yechalek shalom. And in the evening, he will divide up everything that he collected. Others say, like you say, that Binyamin Ze'ev, which is a name, Binyamin Ze'ev, Binyamin was the gentlest, was the sweetest. What's he doing being a wolf? And that's all he had to say about Binyamin. Let's say, like, if he's a wolf, collects prey. What's the shot? I'll read you again from Hirsch. Did Yaakov have nothing else to say better than to picture Binyamin as a ravening wolf? So it's interesting. Let me just paraphrase. Yirmiyahu said that during the Golus, Yirmiyahu was the prophet of the Golus, prophet of doom. But he says during the Golus, meaning the Golus of Bayis Rishon, where were we? In Bavel and in Persia. Purim. We were in Purim. That's where we were between. Who was the Mashiach of Shushan?
Ish Yemini.
Ish Yemini, Haya b'Shushan Habira, right? Ish Yemini. Same words, by the way, it says by Shaul. Ish Yemini. The Sitra de Yamin. The message here is Yirmiyahu said, Im lo yisach chavum tzeirei hatzayin. You'll see, mark my words, that the kindest and the weakest, if you will, the least aggressive, the opposite of Shimon and Levi, they will cause the geula and bring down HaMelech. That was Yirmiyahu's nevuah. What a nevuah! We don't talk about this nevuah enough. It's going to be Binyamin. Okay, Ish Yehudi, Hayabi Shushan Abir. He was from Yehuda also. But Ish Yemini, Hayabi Shushan Abir. Mordechai, Ish Yemini, Hayabi Shushan Abir. It was the Yamin, the Sitra de Yamina, that aspect of Chesed. That's what's going to bring down HaMelech. It's an amazing.
And Shaul failed.
Shaul failed. I saw once in a sefer Mordechai Yosef B'Shar HaMelech. That Mordechai the Ish Yemini was standing B'Shar HaMelech. He was at the beginning of Malchus. It was the beginning of Malchus. But how did he turn around Shushan, an assimilated city? They were all like reform, you know. Sudas Achashverosh, it was like big federation dinners. The whole business. Like how did he flip around the you know? So the answer is that he was ma'ached them. He taught them to do tshuva. This is the whole thing, the whole Megillah is talking about it, and especially the whole Gemara, the first parak of Megillah, is talking about how he was ma'ached them. Ad kedei kach, that the Gemara says in Shabbos, and Tosfos elaborates on it, and Beis, I think, that the Kaf Alei of Har Kegigis, whatever was wrong at Har Sinai, became right in Shushan Abira. What happened at Har Sinai? Vayichad Yisrael Keneged Har Ki Ish Echad B'Leivacha. That's exactly what happened at Har Sinai, that we finally brought it all together. This was, you needed the Sitra to Yemini. Now, Mordechai was a tough guy, because he was Ish Yehudi. He was Vayigash Elav Yehuda also. He was a tough guy. But it was a kanoi. Mordechai lo yichrav, lo yishtachaveh, no question about it. But his etzem, his atzvius was Binyamin, and since his atzvius was Binyamin, he is the one that's going. How's he going to take over HaMelech? Because that's the part that's missing. This is what Yosef said. Yosef said, "Where's Binyamin? Bring Binyamin over here." So Binyamin comes to Shushan. This is where Binyamin is. We're missing the. We have you. We have Shimon in jail here. I'm here, Yosef. I'm here. I'm the Midas HaYisai. Where is your chesed, Rabbi said? That's what he's asking his brothers. Where's the Sitra D'Yamida? Bring him here. And Yaakov is protecting him. Kivav Aseino. He's protecting this Binyamin. But this is what Yosef is saying. Bring him here. Where did he finally show up? Says Yirmiyahu. He showed up in Mitzrayim. But where did he bring the geula? Where did he bring him out in Torah? Where did he bring another Hashras Hashchina, which could have been the final geula? Hader v'kiblua b'mei Achashverosh. Not when there was a nest, by the way. Not when there was a nest. Tosfos says before. It was when they were doing tshuva davening for the nest. They all came together. The fear of a Holocaust, a Persian Holocaust, with Haman as Amalek brought them together. That was the Sitra D'Yamina. So we say here, let's put this aside for a second. We say here as follows. The Shaul, see if you can find the place. Nenash, Shaul could have been the Melech, but Shaul was Nenash al Shenase Rachman al Achzarim. Too much Rachmanis. He had Rachamim on Amalek. In Shmuel Aleph, Perek Tesvav. He who says the Torah before He who ish yamini, because there in Shmuel Aleph and Perek Tes it says, you want to know what was wrong with Shaul? He was a good guy. He's underplayed in this. He was a good person. Shaul. Why couldn't he be the Melech Yisrael? Because he was an ish yamini. Ish yamini doesn't become Melech. Misitra, what does it mean ish yamini? Not just that he came from Shevet Binyamin, but ish yamini came misitra d'yamin v'chesed. You're on that side. Too much yamin with no smol, so you can't kill Amalek. You're not doing the mitzvah. Al kei nidchema malchus. So he got pushed away from malchus. Why? The melech b'mishpat yamid aretz, that a melech has to have gevurah. Melech has to have gevurah. Mishpat. David HaMelech. David HaMelech, we have something very interesting. David HaMelech olav Shalom Admoini. Pasuk says im Yifei Einayim. He was Admoini, which is a midah vesav, Yifei Einayim. So in David HaMelech, you had finally you had Shimon on the one side, you had the Gevurah, and you had Binyamin on the other side. So it was an Admoini, I should say, Admoini im Yifei Einayim. I pointed out last time that Admoini im Yifei Einayim, that gematria is exactly Malchus. It's exactly Malchus, and not just the Malchus of David HaMelech, but the Malchus of Malchus the Mashiach. David Melech Yisrael Chai B'Kayim. Because that's combining the different Oilamos, the Sitra D'Yamina and the Sitra D'Shmol, the different spheros, and bringing them into one. And that's what Malchus is. And David HaMelech had to be the An of Mikol Adam like Moshe Rabbeinu. And the Gemara speaks about this. The Gemara says that David HaMelech said about himself, The Kol HaMelech, I'm not like every other king. Every other king is full of gaiva. They're getting up, they have breakfast in bed, they're like, a serious show. He says, I'm up, Chatzos Halayla, I'm up and I'm worshiping you, and then I'm having people come, Yodim Luchlachos B'dam Nita, B'dam Shilya. The Gemara says in Brachas, I'm not proud. Why? Because Malchus Leisle Migarmei Klum. Ultimately, Malchus has to be Anav Mikol Adam. It's the only reason Moshe Rabbeinu was chosen at this snap. That's the only reason he was chosen, not because he was the greatest Navi. He was the greatest Navi because he was the greatest Anav. It's true. The Anivus is all he had. Don't know how Jewish he was, but he was an Anav Mikol Adam, and hence Moshe Mashiach. Hence he was able to bring together Vayichan Yisrael Naged Ahar. He was able to take Klal Yisrael and Mitzrayim, take them through the Memtes Sharei Tara, bring them out of the Memtes Sharei Tuma, and bring them what might have been Shar Hanun, which is Mashiach. Shar Hanun is Mashiach, they messed up. We messed up. But Moshe Rabbeinu and David HaMelech, David was an Anav. And he combined at the same time Admoni Im Yifei Naim 496. Malchus. Remember what we learned? That Hashem said to Shmuel HaNavi, and Shmuel HaNavi didn't know if he's the right person or he's not the right person. Admoni, he wasn't comfortable with Admoni until he had a nevuah. Just from his own seichel, he wasn't comfortable. He was Toet. And Hashem said, what? Take him, be Moshachim, ki zeh hu. So Eitan Yehuda pointed out, who else said it? Be hu zeh, v'ei zeh hu. In the Megillas Esther. It's all one thing. Zeh hu, 12 and 12. Zeh has to be hu, and hu has to be zeh. And it's Toichlei Kabara. It has to be Toichlei Kabara. So that was what Hashem, the nevuah, the prophetic insight of Shmuel HaNavi was nothing less than this man is Admoni Im Yifei Neinayim, and it all works together in Malchus. If you're not a Mikol Adam, he's not leaning towards this, towards that. He just has the ability to have Gevura and to do Chesed for the whole Klal Yisrael. And somehow or another, not just like as a benevolent king, but he was able to fartrug both of those things. See, it is like Moshe Rabbeinu, because Moshe Rabbeinu, the Ramban tells us that the godless of Moshe Rabbeinu was that mitzad echad, he was brought up in the base paro. So he was aristocratic. He was brought up till he was 20. He was brought up in the base of Malchus, Buckingham Palace. But mitzad sheni, he was the Anav Mikol Adam. And there's two midos that don't usually jive. It's good to have somebody who's royal and aristocratic, but it's good to have somebody who's not. But the two don't usually go together. Came together in Moshe. Why? How could it come together in Moshe? Because Malchus slightly bigarmei klum. It's aristocracy and it's kavod and it's money and it's whatever, but it's not mine. It's not mine. I'm just a gabbai here. That's the midas HaMashiach, and that's the midah of David HaMelech.
Yisoid brings everything together, and Malchus brings everything together. What is the difference between?
Yisoid is the beginning, and Malchus is the seif. Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David. So Yisoid brings everything together. Malchus removes everything. So by Yisoid, it doesn't say Leis Le'Meger Me'Klum. It just brings everything together. Yisoid brings it down to earth, so that Kol HaNeshama Ta'aloka. But then when it becomes Malchus, it's like when you plant a tree, and when the root sprouts. Stemach David Abducha Meheres Hatzmiach. It's a gather of it's the pricha. So you always have to have a Yosef before a David. You always have to have a Mashiach ben Yosef before a Mashiach ben David. People don't like to talk about Mashiach ben Yosef. They're allergic to it because why? Everything brings up Zionist discussions and Rav discussions and all kinds of things. But the Metzius is a Gemara in Sanhedrin that there has to be a Mashiach ben Yosef before there's Mashiach ben David. And Mashiach ben Yosef is a secular to secular is the wrong word, Gashmius to a certain extent. According to Rav Kook, even secular. But the point is, it has nothing to do with, it's not a Malchus takes out after Yesod, which is completely Ruchni. Because what it's doing is it's bringing it together and then using it for the mandate of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we have here, David HaMelech, Admoini Avol Yefei Shein Oise, what does it mean? He had a Midas HaGvur to him. David knew how to fight. But Ein Oise El Midas Sanhedrin Val Pi HaTorah. He fought Al Pi Sanhedrin Al Pi HaTorah. Meaning, what does that mean? Listen to Das Torah. Yes. What does it really mean? That his admoinius was under complete control.
Was serving international.
Yeah. It was under complete control too. The Rimon Shalom. That's what it means. Let me then. Okay, he's a good guy. Listen to Das Torah. He allows himself to be put in this place. It's deeper than that. He used his admoinius. I have an admoinius. It's Matthias. I'm a red. But he used it Al Pi Torah, Al Pi Sanhedrin, and he took that midah, which is, by the way, this is everything that we're learning. Everything we're learning is that you don't say this spoke is rusty, get rid of it, because then you compromise the integrity of the wheel. What you say is let's shine it up and make it work and let it be part of the whole wheel. Let it give the strength. So a person says the guy, Mefurish, by the way, that Bishu Noilad B'Basel Edoim says Mefurish in the Eved Shloim. Bishu Noilad B'Basel Edoim. You should become, quoting the Gemara, you should become a shoichet, you should become a boil. But what the Goin is Moisef on that Gemara is that you don't throw away the midah. You take the midah and you do what David HaMelech did, which is Kulei Al Pi Torah Al Pi Sanhedrin, which is amazing. Again, it's not just a question of listen to your elders. It's a point of that he took. It was under complete control of HaKadosh Baruch Hu for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Baal Tanya so beautifully says that Ezehu Gibor HaKoivesh is Yitzray. Like the last thing you want to do is throw away the Yitzray, your Koivesh, like in the army, you're Kovesh, and you bring it to our side of battle. Kihu says about David HaMelech that he had this Malchus, the Admonium Yefei Naim, the Stira, Kihu Memula Ba'avas Yisrael Be'emes. Memula Ba'avas Yisrael Be'emes. Ve'ein Beliboy Sina. He had no sina in his heart, Ella, except for L'soinei Hashem. So it wasn't a personal sina. You meet people here and there that are balei sina. They just seem to hate everybody. Let's say chas v'shalom, somebody hurts your kid, so you really hate this person for hurting your kid. That's not a Baal Sina. That's a Baal Ava. The Sina Gufa is coming from Ahava. It's not that I hate you, I just love my kid and you hurt my kid.
You're not supposed to hate somebody, you're supposed to hate his actions.
Beseder, but this is even deeper. But it's not hating altogether. It's I'm hating you out of love. It's the Avas Hashem, which is a problem. Look at the puzzle. It says in Tehillim, written by David HaMelech, Misanecha Hashem Esne. Now, Balei Diktuk. Misanecha should say, Soinecha Hashem Esne. Your enemies are my enemies. Well, just stop. What does Misanecha Hashem Esne? What does the word mean? Gemara asks the kasha. It's not people that hate Hashem. It's people who cause other people to hate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's Hashem says, I hate people that make people hate you.
Me or you?
I hate people, he says to Hashem, that make people hate you. This could be, he says the Gemara, Talmud Chacham, who's Mevazah Talmidei Chacham. Elu Talmidei Chacham, Mevazim Talmidei Chacham. Or, Balabatu. Mevazah Talmidei Chacham. So what are they saying? What are you saying when you're Mevazah Talmid Chacham? What are you saying when you're Mevazah Talmid Chacham? You're saying, okay, yeah, he learns, he's over to Hashem, he dedicated his life to Torah. There's nothing, you know. I heard once, like at a wedding, somebody said, I don't want any. What Bukhud said, I don't want any, business people to be Adim under my son's Shlit'a. So the father of the house said, the Seder, but I don't want any Rabbanim there. Like, okay, like it's a good joke, but it's Vavish B'Sadecha Hashem Esne. I mean, Nebuch, like unfortunately, there are those that brought this, but those are the B'Sadecha. It's not a chilul Hashem. It's not just a chilul Hashem. B'Sadecha, you make Abavazah Talmidei Chacham. All of Hakazamayim B'Sadecha Hashem Es.
Does it require the busy Talmidei Chacham part, or any action that comes across like
A chilul Hashem.
Chilul Hashem?
Yeah, for sure. But you see, the difference is this. For
It's
sure.
more essential, but it doesn't.
No, it's not any more essential. Like, if you do something wrong, let's say you go out and steal a car, terrible, Chilul Hashem. But Chilul Hashem, nobody's necessarily relating it back to Yiddishkeit or Takadish Baruch Hu. Whereas if you're Mevazah Talmidei Chacham, you say Torah is garbage. That's what you're
But
saying.
the example is a Talmid Chacham who was Mevazah Talmidei Chacham. I'm saying a Talmid Chacham who then does any meiser.
For sure. But the ultimate
Comes out and
is
does something radical in the Knesset.
right. The ultimate is Mevazah Talmidei Chacham. That's the ultimate.
It's not necessary. It's
Right.
not a necessary component.
So the point is that here's the point. L'didan, nachzor l'didan, that the idea here is the idea of Malchus is that you're bringing everything together. The Sitra Dimina, the Sitra D'Smol, the Midas Hayis, it's all coming together right now. That's what Mashiach is. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu tried to pull off at Har Sinai, and then take everyone to Eretz Yisrael, and that's what David HaMelech started. David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayim. The Malka Mashiach started this idea of bringing everyone together. That's what we have to continue. The minute you get into not Soinei Hashem Esna, I hate people who hate Hashem. Who hates Hashem? Lamaisa. I mean, how many people hate Hashem? HaMelech maybe hates Hashem, but I mean, who hates Hashem? I couldn't care less if, I don't believe in Hashem. Like a lot of different things I don't believe, I don't trust, I hate Hashem. But I'll tell you who, when somebody comes and makes Yiddishkeit ugly, so ugly, like, look what these people do, then you're making people hate Hashem. I hate it, I hate religion, I hate Judaism, I hate Torah, look what it did, A child who was, God forbid, abused by a Talmid Chacham hates Hashem. So Misanecha Hashem Esna, so David HaMelech said, this is what I'm fighting. I'm not just the Soinei Hashem. There's the Oyavei Hashem, those are my people, but I'm fighting those that make Hashem hateful. I'm fighting those that are making a Chilul Hashem. So what does it mean? It means to say that he used his Edmonism to fight the Misanei Hashem, those that make Hashem hateful. So what was he doing with the Sinah? He was creating Ava. And that's Malchus. Through his Sinah, he was creating Ava. It's a whole different kind of Sinah than the kind of people you meet in the street. They're just like, I hate everybody. So he says, finish a few sentences here. Ve'ein b'libo Sinah el l'sonei Hashem k'mo shenemar misanecha Hashem esna. It's until in Kuf Lamed Tes. Ve'alkein nemar, and it says in Shmuel Aleph that when David HaMelech became the Melech Yisrael, Kol Yisrael v'Yehuda. So beautiful. Oyeves David. All of the Shvatim and Yehuda loved David. Says Reb Tzadok brilliantly, Kimayim Aponim Luponim. If all of Klal Yisrael loved David, what can we learn from there? That David loved everybody. Because nobody loves somebody who doesn't love them. Kimayim Aponim Luponim. No such mitzvahs yet of somebody who hates me, but I love him anyway. No. Kimayim Aponim Luponim. Omar Oyhei Loshen Yachid. Kol Yisrael v'Yehuda. You're talking about millions of people. Oyhev Loshen Yachid. So what does that remind us of? Vayichan Yisrael keneged ahar. Ki ish echad. Ki hu hama'achet kol hanefashos de Knesset Yisrael. We learned before that there's a lot of terms for Jews, but Knesset Yisrael refers to the Jews when they bring everybody together. Lios, and here's the lashon ki ish echad b'leiv echad, back to a matzav of Har Sinai, Matan Torah, Dal Kain Zachal and Malchus Elamim, and this was the Malchus Elamim. Okay, Yom Tov.